Am I the a-hole for calling the cops on my cousin during her wedding? I have a cousin who I grew up very close with. She would often ask me to do hair, makeup for her, which I didn't mind because she always offered to pay. When she got engaged, she expected everyone who was attending the wedding to gift them $500 to show our love and gratitude for being invited. I was hesitant, but she wanted me as her maid of honor, and I've known her my entire life, so I paid her the $500 plus an extra $500 worth of wedding gifts for her. As the maid of honor, I was there to help her throughout her planning. I asked on multiple occasions if she wanted me to do her hair and makeup for the wedding. She would always respond with, "My mom is going to do it for me, and you are my maid of honor. I want you to enjoy yourself." Around a week before the wedding, she asked me out to dinner, asking if I could please do her hair and makeup for her and her bridesmaids because her mom was sick and couldn't handle the stress that came with doing the bride and her 9 other bridesmaids' makeup. All of her bridesmaids were going simple with hair and makeup, which would only take around 3 hours to do all of them. The bride wanted her hair cut and colored with waist-length extensions put in, and then styled top of glam makeup. The time to do her hair would be around 5 hours, and then the makeup probably 2. I would be spending 10 hours doing hair and makeup, and since her wedding would start at 2 p.m., I would need to start the hair and makeup around 4 a.m. to finish in time, with no breaks. I told her I couldn't do it, but she begged, and eventually I caved in. After I found the correct extensions, I texted her telling her the price with an included discount, just north of $2,500. In response, she sent a laughing emoji and a thumbs up emoji, but I didn't really think anything of it. The day of the wedding, I woke up at 2 to drive to the venue and set up, and I began makeup around 3:30. The process went smoothly until I had finished and asked when she could send me the money. She looked at me as if I had heard her, and said, "What do you mean?" Apparently, she had thought I was kidding, and thought I was going to do it as a wedding favor, on top of the money I had given her, her gifts, and the expensive $2,000 dress I bought as maid of honor. I told her I was serious, and that I needed the payment before the wedding, but she laughed in my face and told me she wasn't paying me. I saw red, and told her if she was going to refuse to pay, I would call the cops, to which she responded with a shrug. I packed my station up and went to my car to call the non-emergency line, and was told they would be here within the hour. They ended up interrupting the ceremony because they wanted to take statements at the station, but she paid instead of leaving. After I got my money, I left, and my phone has not stopped receiving rude messages since. The total for the wedding was around $200K. She put all the money she collected into it, and she ended up getting it almost fully covered by the people who came. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Good job on calling the cops. That's ridiculous how she expected you to do all that for free, even after you sent her the bill. I personally would have done the same. Everyone sucks here. This is why contracts are important, especially with people you have a personal relationship with. Of course you should be paid for your work, and your cousin is an a-hole for expecting it for free. Also, $200K wedding? I think it would have been better to try to get payment after the wedding was over, just because now your whole family is involved in this. I wish you luck in sorting it out. Yes, the a-hole. You knew she was a nightmare, but you kept saying yes to her. No bride should have to deal with money day of wedding. You should have asked for money in advance of buying the hair, and if you didn't, you should have taken the extensions out of the equation, and then either finished the job or left, and later sued her in small claims court. My 25 female, sister-in-law, 40, came over with her kids, 6 and 7, and I ended up kicking them out because of how disrespectful their kids were. Let me start off by saying every single time they come over, it's pure ducking chaos, and today I just had enough. The second they walk in the house, they start kicking and throwing a ball around my house. I asked them to stop, and their only response is, "Why?" So I told them because something's going to get broken, and we don't kick balls in the house, they're an outdoor toy. Not 2 minutes later, the kid kicks the ball directly into my fish tank, sending the fish food everywhere like confetti all over my living room. Parents say nothing. Whatever, I let it go. Later I go back in the living room, and these kids are running on the backs of my couches like it's their own personal jungle gym. I asked them to get off the couches like that, and I hear the mom pipe up, "Oh, I'm sure your son will do worse, just wait." As if that's an appropriate response to your kids acting like complete animals. I didn't think I really had to explain to grown adults why I don't want their kids to ruin my furniture. We just got my kid his first Power Wheels car. It has a 60-pound weight limit, and first thing the 2 kids do is both climb on trying to ride it. I can just hear the tiny motor winding up because they're clearly too heavy to be on it. I told them they could ride it one at a time. Both weigh 60 pounds plus. The kids never respond to me, so their mom says, "Oh, it's meant for kids, it's meant to be played rough with." I had to explain again to a grown adult that they're too big to ride it together. It's not an inside toy. It was expensive and we don't have the money to replace it. Did they respect what I said? No, they kept going. trying to run over my cat, my ducking cat. They chased him around the house and scared him so bad he ran under my bed, vomiting, and took me an hour to get him out after they left. The parents' response to me telling their kids to stop chasing my cat is, "They're rough with our dog, so she's desensitized to everything now because of them. Your cat is probably traumatized now. Ha 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 ha." Hell no. That's where I draw the ducking line. I freaked out. I said, "It's time for you guys to leave, right now. Your kids are out of control. I've had enough. None of you respect our home or boundaries, so don't come back until you and your kids can be respectful of our house and rules." The looks on their faces were completely dumbfounded, like I had just freaked out over nothing. They left and sent a wordy text to my boyfriend about how it wasn't necessary of me to make a scene and talk to them like that, and they would have handled the kids if it was that big of a problem. I think she's in denial and legit thinks her kids can do nothing wrong. I honestly can't stand them. So, am I the a-hole? Am I just being a witch in the situation and kids will be kids? Or are they really out of line? Not the a-hole. Holy hell. What animals, and what terrible lazy parenting. Keep them away, not only for the safety and security of your home, pets, child, etc., but absolutely don't let your own child see that behavior as an example. Yikes. Not the a-hole. It is your home and you ask nicely, and even explain your reasons for them to follow really basic social rules. It became a dangerous situation for your pets, fishes and cats, so it is more than understandable that you won't welcome those behaviors. Your sister-in-law is a massive a-hole, and this won't be the last time her kids get kicked out if they continue with this behavior. You are doing them a favor by not enabling the kids, and showing sister-in-law what could happen to them, as they probably could stop being invited to potential friends' places, and that could hurt their social life. Not the a-hole. How has your sister-in-law managed to maintain her level of denial? She is being a complete a-hole by giving her kids permission to destroy your belongings and terrorize your pet. Do other family members accept her behavior as if it is normal? Who is she to dismiss your rules and give her kids permission to dismiss them too? It's as if she feels that you rank lower than either her or her kids in your own home. How did your boyfriend react? You said that he received the text. You didn't mention how he responded. If he doesn't have your back on this, then he is one of the reasons your sister-in-law has become such a nightmare. They grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. They do think they're better than everyone, and that they can do whatever they want. My boyfriend, for whatever reason, is nothing like them at all. He had my back 100%, but he's non-confrontational when it comes to his family. They've picked on him his whole life. But he did respond that he agrees with me, and it was unacceptable. I got married in March of this year. My husband comes from a wealthy family, so it was a rather elaborate affair. His sister and I have been friends for years, so she became my maid of honor. I come from a middle-class area, so from the beginning, I wrote out the expenses for bridesmaids ahead of time. How much the dress would cost, $300. My maid of honor was also planning a bachelorette trip that was going to cost quite a bit. She paid for most of it as my gift, and the rest of the bridal party would have to pay $500 per person, before airfare. I made it clear when asking each girl that 1, they didn't have to say yes to being in the wedding, and 2, even if they chose to, I didn't expect anyone to go on the trip if they couldn't afford it or couldn't get time off. I knew one of my friends, Nikki, was not doing so well financially, so I told her if she couldn't afford all of this, there would be no hard feelings, and I'd love to have her come as a guest. And even if she couldn't afford that, it's a destination wedding. I totally get it. She insisted that everything would be fine and she'd make it work. The wedding came and went. I thought everyone had a good time. Nikki and I didn't really talk after the wedding, but I chalked that up to busy schedules. We finally saw each other over 4th of July weekend. She seemed really exhausted. I asked what was wrong, and she said she was tired from work. This confused me because Nikki is a teacher and doesn't work summers. She said she took on 2 summer jobs because she was in a bit of debt. I didn't understand because Nikki is always so good with money. I didn't say that though, and said I was sorry to hear that. Nikki got annoyed and said maybe she wouldn't be in debt had I not had such a luxurious wedding. I was caught off guard. Nikki explained that she maxed out a credit card to be in my wedding. I felt really guilty, saying I never wanted that. She was still annoyed with me and said it was my fault. I got a little annoyed myself and pointed out she knew all the expenses up front, and I gave her several outs, even saying if she didn't come to the wedding, we'd be fine. She said she wanted to support me, but I should have considered everyone's budget. I asked why I shouldn't have a nice wedding because she couldn't afford it. She left the barbecue and we haven't spoken since. Am I the a-hole? The way to include non-wealthy people, most people, is to make it affordable, not to tell them you won't mind if they miss it. In fact, saying that is worse than saying nothing. You shouldn't have considered her budget. You should have just paid. I've always thought it was gauche and classless to throw a party and expect others to pay for it. Your husband's family externalized their cost onto the poor. which is sadly typical class behavior. Yes, the a-hole. I liked how the hen party was only $500 plus airfare. Whenever I've planned hen parties, we've budgeted £150 to £200 per person including travel. If you actually care about your friends and want them to come, you make it affordable. I'd rather have a cheap party with all the people I care about than a lavish to-do with only rich people or force people into debt. Yes, the a-hole. Everyone sucks here. Yeah, she didn't have to take on the debt. Also, it's kind of a crappy move to value having a super expensive bachelorette party over everyone being able to participate. Clearly, you had plenty of money to throw around. Could you not have offered to pay for your struggling friend? Or planned a non-destination bachelorette, given you were already having a destination wedding? Planning a wedding and bachelorette that only your rich friends can attend doesn't make you a particularly good friend, even if you're entitled to do so. I mean, it's her wedding though, and she can have it wherever she wants, and the maid of honor paid for most of the bachelorette party, not her. I personally wouldn't be able to afford this kind of stuff if I was her bridesmaid, and I don't think she did anything wrong. I, 24 female, got married to my husband, 25 male, recently. Our wedding was everything I imagined, and I love him so much. But his mom is just plain awful. Let's just say she would give Tylenol a headache. Anyway, me and my husband were sorting out our honeymoon plans, and we were so excited to finally get some alone time, until his mother suddenly decided she was coming along with us. We were slightly taken aback, and genuinely thought she was kidding, so we laughed it off. She glared at us, straight face and all. She said, "I'm coming along, aren't I?" Me and my husband couldn't help but laugh. More of an awkward laugh, I guess. Mother-in-law then said, "What's so funny? I'm serious." My husband then said, "No, Mom, you're not coming. Why would you think that?" And then started laughing again. Mother-in-law was shocked. She said, "What do you mean? Mother-in-laws always go on the honeymoon." Of course they don't. I have no clue where she got that from, but she was adamant she was coming along. Me and my husband then said that it was our alone time, and our honeymoon was for us and us only. Mother-in-law was furious, and snapped at us, saying she deserved to come since she helped so much with the wedding. She hardly helped. She only paid for a part of it. My mom and my husband's sister did most of the planning with us, actually. We told my mother-in-law she wasn't coming, and that was final. We said it politely as possible, of course. She didn't take it well at all, and stormed out of our house calling me a selfish witch, and calling me an ungrateful a-hole, saying that we didn't deserve all her help. My husband snapped at her, and told her to leave immediately. Told her to stop being so rude to us in our own home, and to stop acting like a huge child about it. Mother-in-law called us a-holes and left the house still complaining. Got back from honeymoon and haven't spoken to mother-in-law since. Both of our families are on our side, and called my mother-in-law a giant baby, and said she was rude, but apparently mother-in-law needs time to process, as according to her, we're still ungrateful a-holes. Me and my husband are happier than ever, and we truly can't care what she thinks. I personally don't see anything wrong with the way me and my husband reacted, but from the perspective from other people, were we the a-holes or were we in the right? You told an emotional toddler no. She then threw a toddler tantrum and rage quit. She is 100% at fault, and it's very good you stood up to her now. She's going to be testing your boundaries to see how far she can push before you say no and really mean it. If she had come, the next on the list would be her and her baby sharing a double and you going somewhere else to sleep. It's always about power and control. If she can slip into your honeymoon, she can slip into your marriage, your house, your pregnancy, delivery, parenting. It just never ends. Once the third wheel is firmly established, you'll have an easier time getting glitter out of your carpet than her out of your life. Be vigilant. Now you know she has no respect for boundaries. She will 100% try again and again. Little things that she'll make seem reasonable, like you're crazy to refuse. Then next thing you know, she's cut the cord, changed your baby's name, and sent a close-up video of you in the stirrups to the internet. Not just Facebook, but the whole internet. Like people who use Netscape will get the wide-angle view with screeching commentary. "I'm the grandma, it's my right." Better to just never let her get a foothold in the first place.